Welcome back to my channel. Here you'll learn how to create a control form. So why control form? Because in this you'll be creating an input field. The part of the form that you're controlling is the input, whereby according to what you're inputting will be shown on your UI. Okay, so let's get started. The form component is already there and it has an empty form with a submit handler. Yeah, and the submit handler method will be called when the form is submitted, right? So now there's already a button there which is used for submitting the form. So that means it's a submit button with the type set to submit. So this will show that this is a button which is controlling the submission of the form. And then you need to add the input element in the form, because that's where you'll be controlling the handling of the input, right? And then it will have to have a value. So you have to set a value and you'll have to set the onChange attribute. Why? Because this will complete the entire handle submit method so that you can submit the input value in the local state. So that means set the state property in such a way that whatever is the input that is currently fed will be shown. So you must also remember to call the event.prevent default so that the page, the form will not automatically refresh every time. So the requirements are already mentioned here. What you need to do, the initialization with input and submit properties as empty, which is already there. Then typing the input element should be updating the input property of the component state, the current state. So submitting the form should run the handle submit method, right? Okay, so let's get started. Here you have a submit button, but it's not active, as you can see here. So you need to make it active, okay, according to the current state. So class my form is given there. You have a inside the constructor, you have a state, initial state with input and submit as empty. This dot handle change, the binding has already been done for handle submit method and handle change method inside the constructor. That's already there. And you have a handle change event, yeah, whereby the state has been given as event.target value. That means whatever is the current input, that will be shown. That will change whatever is already there. If you change the input, the handle change event will show the changed value of the input. Then you have the handle submit method, that is the handle submit event. Yeah, so now you need to fill this. Okay, so I just removed the redundant line in the handle change event, and then we go to the handle submit event, which we are supposed to do here. Change the code below the line. Yeah, so what you need to do, event.prevent default. Why? As they mentioned here, you need to write this line in order to stop the form from refreshing every time. So that's the rule. Then after that, you need to do the method. So you have to call the handle submit method by setting the state. So this dot set state, as we've done earlier. Yeah, remember the curly brackets and the parenthesis. Okay. The curly brackets will be inside the parenthesis if you remember in the setting of state. So submit. So what will be the submit? The current, as mentioned in the question, it will be the current value. So initial value has been shown as empty, obviously, because you haven't submitted anything, so it will be empty. Now you have to set state such that when you submit something, it will show you the current value. So that's what you need to do here. So submit, what should be the value of submit? This dot state dot input, whatever is the current value of input, it should show there. Okay, so let's do that. As mentioned here, you're just looking at the question. The submit will be called when the form is submitted, and you have a submit button. Okay, so let's go here again, just checking if the question's instruction is being followed. Submit will be this dot state dot okay. Why this dot state dot input? Because as per the question and even otherwise, what you need to do is whatever value you're inputting at the current moment at the state, that needs to be shown on performing the submit method. Okay, then you have a form here. So form on submit, what is happening? It will automatically trigger the this.handle submit. So that's why this is already shown here. This is already provided. The code is already provided. That form on submit will trigger the this.handle submit, which you just, the handle submit method, which you already did earlier. So this on submit code will trigger the handle submit. Okay. Then here, change the code below this line. Inside the form, here something is missing. And what is missing? The input element is missing. So input, you need to feed the value here. Yeah. So what should be the value? It should show you the current value. Yeah. So what will be the current value? This .state.input, right? Because input initial value is 0 or empty. So if you do this .state.input, it will show you the current state of the input. So that should be the value. Yeah. Then after that, what else you need? On change. Yeah. So you need to also write the on change value or on change method. What happens? So on change is already given here, this dot handle change, because this dot handle change has already been bound there inside the constructor. So you just need to call the handle change. What happens on changing? So you've done the input value so far, so that whatever you input, latest value you input, that will be shown. That is the meaning of this dot state dot input inside the input field. Okay, then on change will be obviously this dot handle change method, because this dot handle change method has already been provided in the code. So all you need to do is write the on change code here, which will trigger the this dot handle change method. That's it. Yes, on change will trigger the this dot handle change method. Okay, just correct the, okay. Then you have a submit button here, which has been set to type as submit, so that you know it's a submit button. Yeah. And then the form is closed. Now, after the form is closed, you need to write some more item here inside the code. So just come down here to this place under the form. So I hope until now this part is clear to you, and do support my channel by giving a thumbs up and sharing this video to others, to your fellow mates, so that I can grow this channel and produce more such videos and tutorials. So as part of the question, when you read there, it says after the form, you need to create a h1 element. So h1 open and closed element, yeah, because so far you have done everything. You've done the method, you've called the method, the submit method, the handle change method, everything. You've even fed the value, the current state, but you need to render it so that it will render on the screen, right? So in order to do that, you need to do this line on the h1, because you need to see it as a h1 line, a header line, this dot state dot submit, because that means here in the h1 element, you will be seeing the latest input that is being submitted. That is the latest. Okay, so let's see here the submit. You have an input field now. Let's type something. Let's feed something in the input field and see if it's in action. The submit button is in action and triggering the methods that we called. Yeah. So edtech by Meera. Yes. Okay, let's go here and check something wrong. I think some spelling typo. Okay, let's check. This is all about debugging, so don't get upset. If you don't see the output as expected, just come back and debug. That is, try to see what's gone wrong. Is there any typo? Is there any code got wrong? Yes, this T is missing. This dot state dot input. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go back here, preview. Everything else is okay. Okay, type again, edtech by Meera. This is my channel. I do a lot of coding tutorials. Currently, I'm doing front-end tutorials, but I'm planning to start back-end as well. Edtech by Meera. Yes, the submit button is in action now. It is actually truly operating. Okay, so let's change the input and see whether it's showing the current value and it's changing, whether it's successful. There you go, coding is fun. So it was able to change the previous value to the current values. So on change handler also working, submit method also working. Yes, there you go. You passed this test. See you in the next lesson. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and don't forget to share and see other tutorials in this channel. Give me a like also.